You're watching Drake Wing Gaming. Enjoy the video.
Hey guys and gals, Never here from Drake Wing Gaming, and something on Twitter, the Gaming Dragon. Today I'm coming back at ya, as you can see, with another episode of Temptation's Ballad. That's right, y'all, we are jumping right back into Temptation's Ballad. Let's go ahead and jump right back in. I'm very excited, y'all. Alarm chain, you are up, and let's go! No, it's not over, I thought I said. Okay, I'm gonna start right here. I think we left off kind of close to here, so things already look a little bit different. Okay. Alright, let me turn the music up a little bit. There we go. Without another word, the old bear turned and disappeared behind the castle gates. Craftsman Square. Market District, secluded warehouse. Agatha stumbled through the dark stone corridors of Rotten Red's alley on sore feet, her body exhausted. She let out a breath of relief as she finally caught sight of the city proper. The sharp, biting scent of ozone lingered in her nose. The collapsed fighting ring faded behind her as she fled home. Her little operation did not go as smoothly as she had hoped, but at least she got what she came for. The old bat spilled through the door of her dingy apartment and threw off her hood. Reaching into her cloak, Agatha smiled as she gingerly pulled out her prize, a single scarlet ruby. The jewel felt warm against her skin, pulsing rhythmically as though with a heartbeat of its own. This is one of those demonic rubies that Roderick procured. She had hoped to snag all of them from that atrocious black market, but she didn't anticipate the creator's chosen of all people to show up. Her presence had certainly thrown a wrench in her plans. Still, 1 out of 4 was better than none at all. Agatha rolled the ruby in her palm gently as she studied her reflection in the scarlet facets. With a demonic entity at her disposal, she could finally give Roderick the retribution he deserved. Years of sleepless nights toiling in her lab, pouring her heart and soul into making her dream a reality, to finally fill this gnawing emptiness in her chest. The dream to hold her daughter's hand, wiped away in an instant by that vain man's ambitions. Agatha's grip around the ruby tightened. Finally, justice was within reach. The flesh of her palm suddenly seared in a painful white flash. Agatha yelped, hastily dropping the ruby. The jewel clattered across the floor with a hiss. Moments later, blinding blood-red light filled the room, and before Agatha was unceremoniously thrown off her feet, she groaned and clutched her head weakly. The old bat blinked through the scarlet haze. Her heart leapt to her throat. Her own face stared back at her, curiosity and amusement twinkling through black sclera. Except, the face wasn't hers. It looked older. Ancient. Unblinking scarlet irises pierced her mind and peered inside, picking apart her every thought like an open book. My, what do we have here? A childless mother and a broken promise. The anger, the indignation. You seek retribution for the betrayal of your life's work. The demon's voice rumbled with amusement. What an interesting little puzzle I found myself with. Agatha watched as her own face broke into a gleeful smile with far too many teeth. Tell me, mortal, are you worthy of my envy? Yes. Huh? Agatha jolted awake with a start. She sat up abruptly with her makeshift desk, blinking warily through her sleep-addled haze. The warm cloak draped across her shoulders tumbled to the ground of the dingy warehouse. She didn't remember bringing her cloak with her. You're awake. Agatha jumped. Oh God! It's a tiny version of her! Kill it with fire! She whirled around to see a familiar small brat staring back at her, nonchalantly gnawing on a loaf of cheesy bread. Was that her lunch? Agatha peered at her now empty food basket in amusement. I forget how boring mortals are when they sleep. How can you just lie there doing nothing for so long? Seems like an awful waste of time when you have limited days on this earth. Agatha groaned and rubbed her eyes. Life sucks ass. Being awake for long periods of time is terrible for one's health. That's why we practice being dead for 8 hours a night. Zello squinted suspiciously. At least Agatha thought she did. It was hard to tell beneath the child's unkempt hair. That doesn't sound right. Who's the mortal expert here? In my experience, sleepless mortals tend to die sooner. Exactly. Too much time spent living is bad for you. That's why you should leave me alone so I can catch some beauty sleep. For once. Little brat huffed indignantly. She grabbed Agatha's cloak off the dusty floor and tossed it over the old enchanter's head. Trust me, you're not that interesting when you're asleep. And you snore. I'd rather be sampling all the food stalls at the festival right now, but someone insisted I stay here in this boring-ass warehouse. My wallet is still recovering from that time you impersonated me and bought 50 pounds of sweets. Regardless, the City Watch and church knights are swarming the streets after your little stunt yesterday. You best behave and keep a low profile. Zelos scoffed and crossed her arms. Excuse me, I am Zelos the Faceless. I am 8 centuries old, and I have the best shape-shifting abilities of all my siblings. No church knight with their feeble divine sense is going to pick me out of a crowd. Didn't the Bonebreaker boy trick you into revealing yourself yesterday? That's different! He had my little brother's help. I'm pretty sure sending a child down the street with an armful of fake bombs didn't require demonic intervention. Whatever, I still won the fight. You got chopped into giblets. That doesn't count either. Little brat had backup. Ah, so the great envy demon can defeat one moral with no problems, but 2 morals are clearly too much for her. You're being a dick. And you're being a child. Sit down and behave for just one day, I'm begging you. Little demon crossed her arms and plopped down on a nearby crate with a huff, her wings fluttering restlessly behind her. Agatha grimaced. Speaking of behaving, can't you shapeshift into literally any other body? What's wrong with this one? The envy demon flashed a toothy grin as though to taunt her. This is who you wanted to see, isn't it? Rosie. The enchanter stiffened. She glared down and busied herself with the paperwork on her desk, refusing to give the demon the satisfaction of watching her squirm. Rosie isn't real, and yet I can see her so clearly in your mind. Your precious little would-be daughter. You spend an awfully long time thinking about her, imagining every little detail. What she'd grow up to be like, her hobbies, the way she'd skip around your lab while you try to wrangle the little ankle biter. The demon sneered. I must say, I've grown rather fond of this face. It's comfy. What a self-indulgent imagination you have, enchanter. Ow! 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 Let go! Let go! Agatha sighed as she yanked the young brat around by the ears. You know, I imagined she'd be a lot more polite. Zelos wiggled out of her grip with an indignant hiss. Well, you know, children tend to disappoint. You're doing a stellar job in that department. Can't you just shapeshift into that cloak from form you used yesterday? Oh, I'd love to, but I also want to eat snacks. And this form doesn't have a fucking mouth. You're a demon. You don't need to eat. Listen, old bag, I came to the material realm to have a good time, and that includes snacking as much as I damn well please. Agatha rubbed her temples with a sigh. Then just create your own face. You don't need to keep borrowing from the rest of us. Little demon bristled before spitting out a bitter laugh. Her brow twisted into a loathing sneer as she idly kicked at the dirt beneath her feet. For a brief moment, the childlike tone of her voice washed away to unearth the ancient creature underneath. You're asking Envy to create a face she is content with. I didn't think you capable of such cruelty. Agatha quietly stared at the sulking figure of her imagined daughter. The demon glared back, and her hackles rising in bitter defiance. Oh, don't look at me like that. I know you've been wishing that you grabbed literally any of the other rubies. Like it or not, you're stuck with me. Is that such a bad thing? Compared to all my siblings, is that even a question? The demon cackled, her voice heavy with loathing. There is wisdom and fear, there is strength and rage, and there is joy and temptation. But envy? Envy is ugly, petty. It is seeing your missing pieces in every person you meet. It is knowing that there is nothing here but an empty pit that will never be filled, a mask with nothing behind it. So you tell me, mortal, is it really such a bad thing? Looks like, coffee time. Coffee done. Pretty good. Are you truly envious of everyone you meet? Isn't it obvious? It's in the fucking name. Agatha smiled softly. Even me? Agatha watched in contemplative silence as the younger bat seethed. She was unsure what compelled her, but her hand suddenly reached out and patted the distressed child's head. Zelos froze. To see something of worth in everyone. I suppose there is a kind of beauty in that. Zealous was silent. That is a nice thought, but it doesn't change what I am. Agatha adjusted her glasses thoughtfully. Can demons learn and grow the way mortal children can? Little brat scoffed and crossed her arms. Have you forgotten how old I am? I have lived multitudes of your lifetimes. What is left for me to learn? I like to think that there is always something to learn, so long as you're alive. Are demons truly so unchanging? We don't exactly perceive time the way you do. We do not age nor grow. We simply are. That sounds like a rather dreadful way to live. What do you have to look forward to? The point of life is to experience the world and grow from it. At least that is what I believe. The little brat rolled her eyes as she lounged back in her seat on the table. I won't be lectured by a creature that will wither and die like a freshly plucked flower. If it is possible for demons to change, I certainly won't learn it from you. With a dismissive huff, she hopped off the table, and with a beat of her wings, soared over the rows of crystal towers in the warehouse. Agatha grimaced as the demon landed atop one of them, the crystal teetering precariously under her weight. Be careful with those. I spent the entire night hauling them back to the warehouse. Didn't you spend the entirety of yesterday setting them up in the festival streets? Yes. During your little stunt yesterday, the Bonebreaker brat tried to sound the alarm with these crystals. You know, after you hijacked all of them. The City Watch was not pleased to learn they invested a sizable sum into a security system that didn't work. And so they sent all my towers back to this warehouse to be recalibrated. That damn sheriff was insufferably smug the whole time. It's not my fault your crystal doohickeys were laughably easy to overtake. Agatha sighed and rubbed her temples tiredly. No matter, I need to double-check everything before tomorrow's attack anyhow. You will be mostly recovered by then, yes? Zelos smirked and flexed her wings with a casual roll of her shoulders. I think I can handle a brief battle with a washed-up old wizard. Yesterday you were bested by a man armed with some sturdy wire. Roderick is no ordinary mage. You'll do well to not underestimate him. This is a whole lot of effort to beat up one lousy old man. Why do you hate him so much anyhow? A dark look fell over the older bat's face. Do you know why I became an enchanter? Why I spent decades studying life itself as an arcane researcher? Zelos blinked and hesitantly brushed a hand over her own face. The child you could never have. Agatha stared at the face of Rosie for several moments before squeezing her eyes closed. You asked me once why mortals bother living such brief and feeble lives. Everyone has a different answer, but for me, I wanted to bring life into the world. A family. To hold my daughter's hand. To watch her learn and grow. To live. Oh, excuse me. Oh, bad timing on that. Oh, excuse me. I'm drinking fizzy water. And when the day comes where I meet my maker, I can rest easy knowing that I've imparted a piece of myself to someone I loved after I'm gone. And if I'm lucky, change her life for the better. A brief pause passed between them as Agatha pressed a hesitant hand over her stomach. Unfortunately, my body had other plans. Every miscarriage and passing year felt like another grain of sand slipping from my fingers. I grew desperate, burned bridges, and frightened loved ones, and in the end, I was left alone as a childless crone. That's when he approached me. Roderick. We were longtime colleagues in the arcane research field. I dare say we were old friends, or as close of a friend as I was capable of having. His wife was dying, and they were both barren and wished for a child of their own. Probably for the purpose of heir apparency for the Axian throne. He never struck me as much of a loving father. But Roderick offered me nearly unlimited funding and resources for my efforts to create a child through arcane means. A real child born from two parents who can learn and grow. A bitter sneer fell across Agatha's face. I did it. I succeeded. Years of toiling, research, and countless resources spent, I finally brought two potential lives into the world. Do you know what happened? Roderick snatched my life's work and bastardized it, defiled it, for whatever egotistical scheme he had concocted. The quill in her hand snapped under her grip. I don't care what it takes. I will see that man and all he holds dear destroyed. Perhaps then I can rest easy. Zelos peered at her quietly. You said your life's dream was to bring your daughter into the world, didn't you? Why not do that instead of dedicating so much for a man you hate? Agatha laughed softly. I said I wanted to be a mother who could raise her child with the love and warmth she deserves. Look at me, Zelos. I am a bitter and vengeful woman. What is left of me besides this fury and indignation? What kind of worthwhile life could I give this child? I would not curse her with a mother like me. Alright, I'm going to go ahead and pause it right there. Thank you all so much for watching. Don't forget to like, comment, subscribe, ring that notification bell, and check out our Patreon or YouTube memberships if you can. It always helps. Anyway, I love you all, and I'll see y'all in the next video. Bye-bye!